Listen, we host Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor, and all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. How are you over there, Chris Trammell?
I'm doing fantastic, Kim Jacobs. Thank you so much. This is exciting for me.
I love your excitement and zeal and energy. I'm super excited about having you here today. So I am, like everybody, you all are in for such a great treat because today on our episode, we're going to be talking about how to live your life's work.
That's right.
How epic is that? Living the life that you've been given and you've been blessed with. How do you live your life's work? And Chris Trammell is here today to talk to us about that. I want you all to grab your virtual seats and let us know where you all are visiting in from as well. And tag your friends, share the broadcast. Let everyone know that we are here live bringing you. You doing it? You doing it over there, Chris?
I'm posting. I am posting as fast as I can right now.
Well, look, you don't have to rush. Just make sure you go ahead and take a moment and do it. Maybe I shouldn't talk as fast. I give everybody a chance. Take a moment.
That's all right. You get us out of the gates. I'm ready.
You ready? You ready? Okay. Are you ready for this? Listen, Chris, he helps authors, speakers, and coaches. He's also like a coaching expert to make great, fulfilling money. This is a big difference, y'all, as far as being an author and being an author that makes money. Okay, it's a huge difference. And I'm just going to read the Bible for a second here. While delivering their highest purpose and expertise. He does this through a program called the Author Launchpad, where he helps authors package, launch, and scale their knowledge and expertise. Now, he's been coaching for over 3 decades, including 2 decades of track and field. I'm not going to go, you know what, I dare not share his entire backstory right now through the bio. I want you all to welcome Chris Trammell to the Kim Jacobs Show. Welcome, Chris.
Yay! Thank you, Kim. Thank you so much. I really gratefully appreciate this. And to all of you watching live with us, wherever you're at, I'm coming in from Long Beach, California. It's a little overcast because we have a little bit of marine layer. But I'm super excited to be here. I jumped out of bed at about 5:30 because I was so excited to be on. I went back to my book and I was like, okay, this is great. We get to talk about this section today and so many of the other areas. And I'm also hyped up because yesterday was the Los Angeles Festival of Books here for the weekend. It's one of the largest book fairs, festivals in the United States. And I was there walking that festival yesterday and meeting so many amazing authors and speakers and individuals who have something in their heart that they want to deliver to the world. And I'm telling you, it's like plugging me in to a solar cell. I just get fired up when I see people enlivened by who they are and the difference they want to make.
Well, you seem like such a passionate man about everything that you do and you kind of touch and put your hands and your heart into. So I'm super excited about hearing some of your story. I know even though we're going to talk a lot about your passions regarding authorship and some of the other things that you're passionate about as well, I would love to hear more about your backstory for a brief moment, because this doesn't just happen. I think it probably starts younger in some regard. So where did it all begin for you?
Kim, you asked me my question for my prop that I left over there. So I'm just going to tell you what my prop normally is when I'm live.
You want to go grab it?
What's
you want to go grab it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Listen, while Chris is going to grab his prop, I want everyone to just take a moment and just invite some people in, because I'm telling you guys, you are not going to be the same after you hear this conversation today. So I know that Dr. Jody Bear is the person that I'm actually trying to tag her if I can here. So I know Dr. Jody Bear referred him to our program. And I am super excited because when I was reading all of his information, I'm like, do you know how many authors literally do not succeed when it comes to putting their book into action to the point where other people are actually purchasing the book? It's one thing to be an author, it's another thing to be a paid author where you're actually able to live your life's work. So I'm looking very much forward to this conversation that we're having. And what I'm going to do is take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to hear more from Chris Trammell. He went to go get his prop. So we'll be right back, everyone. Don't move, but tag people. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Kim Jacobs, the Managing Director of the Charlotte, North Carolina chapter of eWomen Network. I am so excited that you stopped to watch this video. I've got good news for you. You've just discovered an international network of women entrepreneurs who are committed to helping you achieve, succeed, and prosper. We're on a mission here to help 1 million women entrepreneurs each achieve $1 million in annual revenue. Here at eWomen Network, we have a complete success system that supports you every step of the way in building and growing your business. You being here right now is no accident. We're supposed to know about you. We want to meet you to find out how we can help you as well as learn about what you have to offer. With over 500,000 women connected through 118 chapters across the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom, you are never alone. If this is resonating with you, please go to ewomennetwork.com/Charlotte. Notice too my contact information. I invite you to reach out to me and to check out our upcoming in-person and online events. I'm really looking forward to introducing you to our special community.
All right, everyone, we are back and we have Chris Trammell with us. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for that, Kim. And I like teachable moments. Can I share something really quick?
Please.
Okay. What you did right there was so smooth and so graceful because some persons get stuck that it needs to look and it needs to be a certain way. And some hosts can't do what you just did with grace and ease and flow. And it shows the practice to your process that you've done over and over and over, and that you trust the process. Yeah. It's one of the hardest things to coach. And trust me, as a track and field coach for 25 years, I had to be able to coach that into my athletes. Like, look, we're going to go with the game plan, but if the game plan deviates and we're moving at this speed, you got to be able to recover and get back into your flow. So for those of you watching, that's what an expert does, is they do it so much it just looks natural and graceful. Because I threw an audible, as we would call it in sports, to Kim, and she's like, no problem, I got this. And I really acknowledge you for that. That's like real-time coaching right there. That was beautiful.
Thank you so much, so much. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the fact that you are going to give us some good tips and nuggets and words of wisdom today as we actually learn more about how to become paid authors, not just becoming a written author. So we're going to learn about that.
Very good.
I want to get you some of your backstory briefly with the prop that you went to go get.
Yes. So my flexibility at 53 isn't what it used to be. So I can't get my foot all the way up here. But if I could, I was wearing my favorite socks yesterday to the Festival of Books. Can you see what's on my socks right here?
Let's put you front and center. Is that a dinosaur?
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
These are my dinosaur socks. And you might ask, why does this guy wear dinosaur socks? Well,
why would you wear dinosaur socks? Chris,
and how does that lead to this guy doing what he does, helping people create programs from their knowledge, their expertise, their life experience? I loved dinosaurs growing up. They were some of my favorite storied creatures to be around. And I had older brothers. And my brothers we were a male Latino family, and it was all boys running around. It was like a bunch of uncorralled thoroughbreds. And if you couldn't hang with them athletically, you really were kind of like pushed aside. You were a little bit poked and picked on. And so the one area where me and my brothers got along was dinosaur models, making dinosaurs, coloring dinosaurs. We had dioramas of dinosaurs all over the house. And inside of loving dinosaurs, I would read a lot of dinosaur books.
Okay.
But I went to Catholic school, and I went to a traditional Catholic school, and there was a place where dinosaurs really didn't fit in. And in this story that the nuns would start to talk about, I would raise my hand. Sister, where are the dinosaurs at? And I would just get looked over and ignored. Sister, where are the dinosaurs at? And I would just get ignored. Finally, they would acknowledge me. Chris, what's your question? Where are the dinosaurs at?
What is it? What is it, Chris?
Right? Exactly. And it was that question that would get me in trouble. They would call me into the office. Mr. Trammell, you need to come in and have a conference with your son. Because I was always pushing back. I got a little bit of rebel in me, Kim.
Okay.
I was pushing back against it. My mom, beautiful Latina, Catholic. My dad, blue-eyed, blonde-haired atheist. It was like kerosene and gasoline, but they loved passionately and they fought passionately. It was one of the two things, right? So what ends up happening is finally my mom says, you will stop harassing the nuns about dinosaurs. Find a different book. I'm like, oh, all right. So that little march of kids that goes out of the classroom and down the hall to the library, when we used to have libraries where we grab books, I think the little kids still have it. Right. I finally found this book called King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. And it was eye level for a little kid. So we're talking 3 feet off the ground. And I pull it out and I start to read it. And it's amazing. There's these knights going on these quests and adventures, and they're fighting other knights, and they're dealing with these mythical creatures. And it was my first opportunity into the doorway of the hero's journey. I didn't know that's what it was called then. I just saw this amazing stories. And from that, I am a proud Gen Xer. I grew up in the 80s. I'm born 1971. So now I've got King Arthur in my eyes right here in front of me. I'm reading it. I've got Rocky on the big screen, Luke Skywalker on that screen, Indiana Jones on this screen, Arnold Schwarzenegger on that screen. The heroes of the 80s were accessible. They weren't part of that CGI where we're like, whoa, look at all. I can't fly around in a jet suit. I wish I could. I don't have a mechanical arm that spits out fire. Right? So we could access our heroes. And as soon as I started noticing the access to heroes, I was like, whoa, this world opened up for me. And when I started high school, my favorite teacher in high school, her name was Mrs. Betty Heckert. She saw that I loved mythology, that I loved the hero's journey. And rather than just giving me what everybody else was reading, she would give me that and more. And ultimately, she turned me on to this gentleman, Joseph Campbell. And this is a recent publication of some of his works, Pathway to Bliss.
Okay.
And inside of this, there was Joseph Campbell, Edith Hamilton, Carl Jung. And I began to understand the archetype of the hero, the archetype of the human being. And I'm in high school. And I'm just like loving, understanding the journey of the human journey, you know, our own humanity. So it goes all the way back to dinosaurs, because if I didn't love dinosaurs and get in trouble for them, I would have never found King Arthur, and I would have never been put on this trajectory that for all of us, we are looking for those hero moments in our lives. We're either for ourselves or causing them for others.
That's really good. That's really inspiring. Go ahead. I know you're in the middle of a point, so I want to make sure you get to finish it. We're
Yeah.
looking for those inspiring moments and the hero in others and in ourselves, really. So, yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. 100%. And, what happened from that and part of the backstory, and this is critical for what helped me become even better, is we go back to that story of all these Latino thoroughbreds. So my brother was a track and field champion. My dad was the United States Air Force European judo champion. My cousin made the decathlon team for the 1980 Olympics, which was in Russia, and it was boycotted, so he wasn't able to go. And then he injures himself right before the 84 Olympics, which was here in Los Angeles. So he wasn't able. So my family had nothing but athletes. I was more like the short, chubby kid who looked like the milkman. I was this white kid in this sea of Latinos. I got the white genes. My mom's Nicaraguan, my dad's German, and I came out looking a little bit more like, what is that kid? And I was a little bit more German looking. And I had to practice, Kim. And I had to practice and I had to practice. If you could do something in 1 hour, Kim, it took me 3 to 4 hours to learn how to do it.
Wow.
If you're, and I saw the picture of your son, strong, healthy, all this vitality. It took me so much more time to learn how to do that. But what it made me was an excellent technician. I could break things down. I could reverse engineer. And it allowed me then to, when I started to coach track and field, and I started coaching my other friends on the track team right about my senior year, because I had a cousin who was a nationally ranked, world ranked decathlete. I had a brother. Okay. And so it allowed me to become a really fantastic track and field coach because I could break things down and make them simple, digestible, doable.
Right.
And that led over.
Yeah, I was going to say, you weren't at that point, you're in your best physical shape yourself at that point. You just had mastered some other skill sets, correct?
That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. By the time correct. By the time I completed college, I was a Division I decathlete. So I did go on from high school to college, and I competed at UC Irvine as a Division I decathlete. I wasn't a natural. I had to really work at it to be good at it. And I competed against naturals, and it was very frustrating. So I learned when I coached that people are going to go through these frustrations of practice because we expect it just to be perfect. We see someone else, we're like, I want to be like that. I'm like, great. It's going to take time. And you got to trust the process. And you will get there, or you'll get to your version of there.
Well, you trusted the process so much that it landed you in this mode.
Look at that.
Complete Ironman race. 2.4 mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, 26.2 mile run. I think that you mastered it very well. Talk to us about this.
Kim, you're making me cry. Thank you for putting that up. It's one thing to show it. It's another thing to be honored for it and to be acknowledged for it, Kim, and I thank you. When I was young, I would see, if we remember, there was Howard Cosell in the Wide World of Sports on ABC, something of victory and the agony of defeat. If we all remember watching those shows in NBC, and I remember watching these people do this incredible feat with their body called the Ironman. And it left an indelible memory in me. And as I got older, I hit my 30s. I was teaching by then. My son had just been born. I put on a little bit of weight for an athlete. There was enough. There was an extra 20 there that I didn't like. And I thought, okay, what can I do? And I was still coaching. And somewhere about 37, I said, you know what? I'm going to try a triathlon. And I started off with the sprint triathlon, which I recommend. If you're going to start, you start with something simple. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. And there used to be a big one here in Los Angeles called the Los Angeles Tri. And then the next thing, I moved up to the Olympic length. And then the next thing, because type A's can't just be happy with where they are sometimes. They got to keep going to that next thing.
I could never relate.
Right? And so the next one became the half Ironman.
Right.
And I can run and I could bike like a jet fighter, but I swim like an anchor. I go towards the bottom of the ocean. I go towards the bottom of the river real quick. So that was the thing that I had to practice, that I had to master. I was never a swimmer. And ultimately, I signed up for the Ironman Arizona. And the thing that I don't know where or why I remember doing this, but someone had said, look, don't just sign up and raise money, because you will finish the race. You won't quit when there's people relying on you, counting on you to finish that race. And so that's what I did. I raised for.
Please say that again, because that's such a profound point. You won't quit. Say it again.
Very good. You won't quit when there's someone else relying on you to finish that race.
And why do you think that is from your perspective?
Very good. Thank you, Kim. There's something about us that is it's the life lesson. It's the cosmic lesson that we need to get over, called not enough. To ourselves, we question if we're enough, if we can do it. Am I smart enough? Am I whatever enough? There's an enoughness that shows up. And these days we call it imposter syndrome. And it still roots itself back into this little thing of enoughness. And when we are in the domain of not enough, it's very challenging for some people in their mindset to complete the action that we said we were inspired to take on. But if it's for someone else, we'll do it. Hey, I'm moving on Saturday. I'll be there. Hey, I don't feel well. Do you want me to bring you dinner? Hey, so we will do so much for others. But when someone asks us, how you doing? I'm fine. Do you need anything? No, I'm good. Are you going to be moving this weekend? Sure, I am. Are you going to ask me to help you? I didn't want to inconvenience you. Right? It's that thing that we have where we've allowed politeness to collapse into this reservation of don't discomfort others. So when we learn to cross that chasm that exists within ourselves, that is rooted in not enoughness and all the behaviors that came out of that, we begin to accomplish first for others, and then we transform it and we begin to accomplish for ourselves. And then we learn to accomplish for others, not because we're accomplishing for others, but because we are accomplishing for our highest purpose that elevates all ships, that elevates all people. We have to go out and back in and out again.
Right. That's good. Okay, so see, you're just dropping knowledge in every aspect of each piece of the segments that we're covering here today. Listen, everyone that's tuning in here, I want you to know that we are talking with author Chris Trammell, and he's also going to be talking with us about a very special program that he offers to up and coming authors and existing authors as well. Today, we're talking about how to live your life's work, and just heard from him about how he was a kind of stumpy kind of kid type of thing that transformed and became an Ironman race finisher. That's a big deal. When you can finish something twice over.
Absolutely.
When you can finally finish what you start, that is difficult for most people to do just in general in life. But for him to do that in this competition is nothing short of amazing. I want us to transition to just talk, Chris, about you being this author. How did you ultimately become passionate about becoming an author?
Great question, Kim. Thank you so much. I loved teaching. My first foray into teaching was at the UC Santa Cruz Marine Laboratory. And when the high school days the field trip days would come, they would say, hey, Chris, lead the field trip. Okay, cool. And I'd talk about all the marine invertebrates. And then we had a couple sea lions there that from a distance I would talk about, and then talk about that. So early on, I was already learning how to do this teaching of wildlife. And then I went to a school for exotic animal training and management at Moore Park College. And I love doing wildlife education shows. That means I would train the animals and at the same time have to be able to share a choreographed message about conservation, behaviors. Why is it important to take care of these animals? So again, I was teaching people in a live setting. that moved me to be able to teach at the Los Angeles Zoo High School. And I taught there for about 15 years. I was fortunate enough to be brought in under the founders of that school, who essentially said, Chris, don't let our program go to pot. And I said, got it. And I got to up level and create some new courses and write some new curriculums. And it allowed me to really expand what I thought would make the difference for these students to be able to take this knowledge of science and biology and the experiential world and take it into their careers and their professions. And in that, Kim, I never had to write a genetics book, an anthropology book, a biology book. I just needed to be able to read them and teach from them.
Okay.
So when I started working with authors, I was helping them. I'd read their books. You know, for example, this was one of my earlier clients. This one's called Count Honorable by Jeff Cohen. So
I love that title. Count Honorable, like being able to be counted on.
Exactly. Being assigned to what you say you're great at, rather than people saying, I need you to do this. I'm not good at that. Well, we need it done, so figure it out. You know, that old hammer management style. Rather than, Kim, what can I count on you for? Well, you can count on me to do X, Y, and Z. But if you ask me to go do A, B, and C, I'm not going to get it done. That's not my wheelhouse.
Area.
Exactly. So what can you say you are count honorable for, reliable for? And so as I started working with these clients, they were asking me this really important question. Chris, have you written a book? And I was like, no. And there was early on, I got to call in on myself. There was a little bit of arrogance about it. I was like, I didn't need to write a science book. I didn't need to write these biology books. My job is to take the knowledge and to teach it. But I noticed they were like, you don't know. I don't know. What don't I know? You don't know the journey that I've been through. You don't know the deep work that I've had to excavate to be able to put it into this book. You don't know how long I've sat looking at a blank screen trying to figure out how to start and how to write it. I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. So then I had been working on the collection. I'm a big journaler. I'm a big note taker. And I started to write. And I said, okay, then I'm going to go back to all of that work, that transformational work, that performance work, the influential work, my work about mythology and how I see it impacts people. And I began to write my story. And ultimately, what I learned as someone who was in the back of the room. So for many years, I was the person in the back of the room watching the leaders in front, transformational coaches, transformation. I made sure that I held that container for them to deliver and to impact people. That was my job. I was the wizard behind the curtain. And I finally saw, oh, you're comfortable hiding behind these really notable places. I used to say chalkboard, clipboard, keyboard. As a teacher, I used the chalkboard that I would keep my genius behind.
Right.
As a track coach, I used the clipboard that I would keep all my genius behind. And then working with writers, it was the keyboard that I kept all my genius behind. And I finally said, oh, I need to get myself out there. I need to lead from the front and stop being the guy that's just pushing others.
Oh, wow. Okay. That right there speaks volumes, because many times when people are coaches and leaders and helping to shape and develop other people based on our individual gifts, we're not always working at the same time to be the person in the forefront, but more so the person that's like, oh, how can I showcase you? Or how can I celebrate you? Or how can I honor you? Or whatever the case may be. And that sounds like it's true for what you were doing as well. So when did this transformation, and I know that's a key word, when did this transformation formally kick into gear for you?
I love it. Thank you. So there's a program that I've participated in. There's a number of transformational programs out there. And the program that made a difference for me was through Landmark Education. I took the Landmark Forum in 2006. I had an ex-girlfriend who had seen that my passion, my joie de vivre, my zest for life had kind of dulled because my mother had had a stroke, and I love my mother dearly, and it really kind of threw the family off, and I wasn't on my A game. And I invite anybody, if you're not on your A game, find some program that's going to help you get the stuff out of the way that's in your way from shining your best self forward. Because look, you are not born programmed to perform at the level of transforming the world, of making a difference. Now, not everybody wants to. The type A's like to. Other people, they are fantastic entrepreneurs. Be that. Be great at what you do wherever you're at. But for myself, I had to do a lot of that deep work. And as I kept doing that deep work, I finally, through my series of programs, I took a program called the Team Management Leadership Program. I was the head coach for about 70 different participants in the Los Angeles area who were then responsible for about another 4 persons themselves. So ultimately about 300 projects going on all at once. And my assistant coach said, "You're going to write your book in this program if it kills me. I am not going to let you do this one more time where you push everybody else and you don't get yours out there." So she, shout out to Jessica Martinitis. She's an incredible producer director here in the Los Angeles area. And almost to a year, my advanced reader copy of Living Your Life's Work was written. And
pull that up. I'm going to pull it up on the big screen here for
yes.
you. Live your life's work, and living your life's work. This is amazing.
Yeah, very good. So, and that's what it was. Launch Your Life's Work was the program that gave birth to this book of Living Your Life's Work.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's...
hold that up again.
There you go.
Living your life's work, from discovery to delivery, unleashing your full potential and leaving your mark on the world. Oh my goodness. Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Thank you. And that's what I saw, Kim, as someone who is in the back of the room for so many global brands and global coaches, people looking for, how do I get my life work out to the world? Mm-hmm. And I love the Simon Sinek talk. And it's not like it was new, the one where everybody's like, start with why. What's your why? What's your why?
Right.
And I was like, yeah, but that's not it. That's not enough. Now it's start with why. But what I say is, look, if you're going to say, what's my purpose? Well, the purpose of this pin is to write in blue. The purpose of this pin is to write in green. But when I actually start to use them and I put them to use in the world and I work with them, magic appears.
That's
so
good.
Saying your purpose alone, I'm here to be blue. Awesome. I'm here to be green. Great. Go create with it. Go do something that leaves people transformed by the experience with you. And the most important part is then they say, how can I do that? If it calls to them. Because for some people, it doesn't call to them. Like the conversation you and I are having here, there's many people that's like, that doesn't call to me. And for a number of persons, they're like, this is what I've been waiting for. Someone that's going to tell me that I'm looking for not only what purpose is, but how to actually apply it out in the world. Because like Gandhi says, if you want to know God and you really want to know yourself, go be in service of others. Mm-hmm. That's life work. It is a declaration. I am here to do and to serve. I love the movie Eat, Pray, Love. I think many people, Melissa Gilbert, right? If I remember the name, is that correct? Melissa Gilbert.
I know I've watched it, so.
Yeah. It's a very beautiful romanticized story where we have to go out in the world to go find ourselves, right? Like how we got to go out to the world and do these lessons. Ultimately, it's this journey. It's about
Elizabeth Gilbert. Elizabeth
Gilbert. That's right. Melissa Gilbert was a Little House on the Prairie. Thank
Right,
you
right.
so
I
much.
was gonna say, I know I heard both. I'm like, I think it's okay. So it's Elizabeth, and I know I'm Julia
Elizabeth
Roberts.
Gilbert, Melissa, Elizabeth, I apologize to both of you. You did incredible work in your lives. But I appreciate that, because people think my purpose, my life work is out there to be found somewhere. And it's the out there where you exercise what you discover in here. It's an inside out game. It's not an outside in game, but we're in this paradigm that has us believe what's on the outside is what fulfills here. No, it's here out. And when we start to learn how to close that gap, and we start to learn how to reverse the direction of our flow of energy and our mindset and how we speak and how we be, I say that's part of living your life's work. What am I here to do? And now let me go do it and align myself behind that. Because if that's really what I'm here to do, why do I do anything else but that?
I agree. I agree with you. And so I know for me, I'm a big believer, and you may be able to coach me on this for a moment here, because I'm a big believer that I'm not going to leave any stone unturned. Whatever God has given me, I want to make sure that I'm using it and that I'm applying it and doing something to help salt this earth and make a difference in somebody else's life. Even if it's not necessarily for me to be the one that's trying to benefit from it, it may be something that I took on to be a blessing for somebody else as a vehicle that maybe they would have never experienced. Tell me your perspective on that. Do you think that's like doing the most, as my mom would say? You're doing too much. You're doing too much.
I think there's value in the statement also, to each their own. There's a grace and a generosity I've had to learn that not all people are wired to want to be at the front. And I'll answer your question with this. We all learn lessons from our parents. I had a dad who very much loved attaboys. Attaboy, son, attaboy. And I grew up craving attaboys, wanting that attention. And it becomes it becomes our compensations. What are the things that we had to compensate for in life? Because over time, if we could learn that they're no longer our ways that we survive, they become our competencies. So the muscles I developed to be someone who was liked because I was a short, chubby kid and I couldn't perform and I was picked last, right. But I knew how to connect with people. I knew how to socialize with people. I knew how to make people like me. As I grew up, that became a superpower. There's very little rooms in this world that I can't walk into and immediately get connected and related and find out what lights somebody up.
So then that's me for sure. I can do
very
that.
Good. So
there are no strangers.
There's no strangers. That's beautiful. So the opportunity, Kim, is for you to continue to use that with the awareness that you're always connected to the person that you're speaking to. Because when we start to show up and we talk and we make it about us, that's when I say people observe us as doing too much. And those persons may not have the lens of consciousness or of conscious action. They may just see it as braggadocious, lack of humility, being too audacious. Why don't you be a little bit? Because there's part of this polite society that we had to grow out of, right? Like, hey, look at the 60s. Women shouldn't be doing what they're doing right now. African Americans shouldn't be doing what they're doing right now. Gay rights, transgender shouldn't. Like, there was all these sacred cows that we had to break up. And as best as I see, the politeness has gotten us into the pickle that we are trying to extricate ourselves from climate change, from racial divide, from political disruption. There's no Camelot we're going back to.
That's right.
It's up to us to create something that works for all and no one left behind. And so if this is your work, Kim, then this is your work to do.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said this, because it makes me feel better, actually, because sometimes I hear people and they'll share their stories and they're like, I'm just, I'm so grateful that God would choose me. And I'm like, I'm so grateful that God would choose me. I grew up in the projects and I was definitely written off as like, oh, she's going to be this or she's going to be that. But I may not always talk about that at this phase of my journey, but I'm extremely grateful that God would pick me up out of an inner city project and bring me to where I am today. And I can't thank him enough. I can't express enough gratitude, you know?
Yeah.
But what people may see on this end of the spectrum is, whoa, she's all happy-go-lucky. Take a negative pill, girl, because you're too fired up. And I'm like, no, I would never, ever dumb down my stuff because of what I believe that God has given me to be able to make a difference on this, to make my mark, to live my life's work, right?
Yes. Yes.
But anyway, all right. Okay, let's see. Some
beautiful.
comments have been coming in. So I want to take a moment to address
let's do that.
some of the studio. Oh, I have my glasses on. These are reading glasses. Like, where are your glasses, Kim? They on your face, girl. Okay, let's see.
I've grown into them too now.
Okay, Justin. Oh, Mackenzie, if you would put the comments up. Let's see. Backstage, she's putting the comments up.
Thank you, Justine. She is a great blessing. I'm grateful to have connected with her. Thank you, Dr. Jody Bear, for that.
Thank you so much, Lady Justine Hilliard. And she has multiple authors in her family. She's a grandmother, a pastor's wife, and many of her children, her seeds, are authors, and they write some phenomenal books, actually. And one of her daughters is an expert here on the Kim Jacobs Show, overcoming single parenting obstacles. And she also has one about adulting, raising adult children. It's some good books that they have over there.
I hear there's action to be had.
Yes.
You know.
And they all want to know how to make money as an author, which we're going to
got to jump into that one before we close today, just so I can make sure people have some takeaways to put into action.
That's going to be our next piece here. Okay, any other comments that we want to address? I believe I have a gift of helping and encouraging people. Excellent, you do.
Beautiful, Justine.
And my mom, this is my mom, Ella Spradley. She said, good morning.
Good morning, Miss Spradley. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Mackenzie said, hey, are you married? I see a wedding ring over there, so I know you are.
I got a great story about being married, but Mackenzie, I am. And it really was a thank you, God. I tell my wife that all the time. I say, thank you, God. I was a late bloomer. I had my son before I got married, and extraordinary women have always been in my life. And some people like alcohol, some people like drugs, some people like hard music. For me, my impulse, my vice was infidelity. I didn't know how to stay where I was. I didn't have the tools to just be with upset. And I would go find comfort somewhere else. And one day I'm at the Saban Theater here in Los Angeles with my mentor, Marianne Williamson. I got to do about 4 years of deep work with her. And I had done it again. And it's a crowded theater. Just imagine like a full theater, not a stadium, a full theater. And I tell Marianne, how do you get someone back when you've broken their heart? And she looks at me and she says, well, let me ask you something. Was it infidelity? Like, just went straight to the core of it. Right to it. No, like, just a woman's genius. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, sometimes the best thing someone can tell you is no. So you go do the deep work you have to do to become someone worth being with. And I was like, all right, let's do that deep work. And so for the next few years, I had to go transform that area of my being and my awareness and my consciousness and the old behaviors that no longer served me. And right about, well, we just celebrated our first date, which was 9 years ago on March 26th. And I was on Match.com. And I wrote to this gorgeous woman. I said, I know there's something that if I said it right now, you would say yes to having a cup of coffee with me. Please tell me what it is I need to say, and I will say it to you. And she's like, I'll meet you for coffee.
And she did coffee with you, clearly.
She did. She did. She was so fantastic. It was during March Madness, and I knew I was a sports guy. So to be with a woman who didn't love sports wasn't going to work for me. My son was already playing football. So I've learned now, and this is part of the journey of what we do as authors and experts. You have to learn who your audience is. And so I asked her, I said, hey, I'm running a March Madness bracket. Can we go watch it at a sports bar? Because I knew if she was going to be like, I hate sports, I don't like sports, that we wouldn't be a good fit. So it was very subtle. And she's like, yeah, and I'll put $10 on Wisconsin. And I was like, oh, I love you. Let's do this.
All right. Yeah, that reminds me of one commercial. Is Kevin Hart, and I don't even bet or anything, but it's just one thing that he said. He's like, you done made my wings cold, DraftKings. It's a little silly commercial. Anyway, go ahead. It's a commercial.
That's great. That's great, Kim. Thank you for that. So to answer the question, I am wonderfully, happily married. And, I was an animal trainer for years. That's one of my backgrounds too. We didn't get into that. And my wife has learned, I'm like, babe, I'm like this. I want you to take me to the dog park, unclip me, let me run around, because I'll always come back to you. But just let me have my leash. Let me go run around and do what I do. I will always come back. And she gives me such a long leash, and I always come back.
Oh, okay. And you didn't send a picture. Now, you didn't send me a picture of your wife, right?
I did it.
You did not. But no, don't move. I don't have to take a commercial break or anything, because I think I'm good enough to find.
Oh my God. You're so good, Kim. Oh, you're so good.
Look at this beauty queen that he's married to.
Yes. Look at that. I'm already graying. I'm an older guy. I'm 45 right there. I love it.
Oh,
Kim, that's one of the
so
best
happy
days. Yes. Oh, that was beautiful.
And this was the woman that gave you the advice. I have that picture too.
Oh my gosh. Yes, exactly. Yes.
So thank you, Mary Ann, for telling him to go and make it right.
That's my girl, Mary Ann. And I wake up and I read, this is from A Year of Miracles. Every morning I wake up and I read one of the, not so much an affirmation, but the thought for the day, right? And that's a practice that I have that I recommend any author out there. If you continue to do the work, also come up with a book that breaks it down, one action people could take from your work per day. That's what she did. This is based on Return to Love. And so, as we stay in the game of being expert authors and business-minded authors, we look for what's the next best product that serves our audience.
Yes.
And this is a beautiful book, A Year of Miracles by Mary Ann.
I'm excited about it. So Dr. Colin Clark said, discover, live, practice, and share your purpose. And he is when I say he drops significant words of wisdom as well. He's one of our Freestyle Friday experts on relationships. He's been married for over 40 years, and he is off the top with some significant knowledge. Okay, listen, everybody, before we close out this show, we have to talk about what we came on here to talk about today, which is living your life's work. And it's the Author Launchpad. Talk to us about the Author Launchpad.
Very good. Thank you, Kim. So the picture that you showed was fantastic. That had the pastor in the middle. That pastor, prior to the pandemic, I used to tell him, Pastor, let's bring that online. He was one of these old timers who had transcended brand. He was do good, speak good, be good, leave good, love good. Just go be good in this world. And I used to tell him, Pastor, let's put that online. He's like, no, Chris, I don't like that online world. I like people showing up on Sundays. Oh, and then again, Pastor, that was so good. Let's put it online. No, Chris, I don't want it. Pandemic hits. Chris, what do I got to do to move online? Now I got you. So I began working with all of these sacred space leaders and his colleagues, helping them move their knowledge and expertise online. But what they gave me, which was really they went straight to that tip of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is they gave me life work. They were using messages like, Chris, my calling has been, my life has been about, the message I'm here to give, the purpose of what I do. And I'm like, that's it. That is what we're looking for, and how to demonstrate it and how to discover it and design it and demonstrate it and deliver it in our lives. That's what we all want. So my first program was Launch Your Life's Work. But what I saw with that, it was too big. It was the rocket science of our human journey. It was the rocket science of self-actualization. So I said, okay, well, I was a teacher. If this is the rocket science, what's the pre-algebra? How do I get them started with the foundations of an author business, a basic book business, an expert business? So I went back here and I created the Author Launchpad, helping authors, speakers, and experts to be able to package. What are we going to package? Market. How do you get it out to the world? And how do you monetize it? So it's not just the best kept secret. It's not just a book that collects dust, or you got boxes sitting of it inside your garage because you're still hoping someone's going to knock on your door and buy them all from you, right?
Okay.
So the Author Launchpad is a 90-day program where I do that. Up there it is, exactly how to package, market, and monetize. And I walk them through each and every step. I want this to be as good as a recipe of your favorite cookies, your favorite pie, your favorite something, that you could do it over and over so that it becomes scalable and replicable. And we stop coming from how do we think, how do I feel about it? It's not that. People are relying on you to produce a reliable result in their lives. And the only way you produce reliability is you have a process that you practice over and over and over. And that's what the Author Launchpad is about. It's about packaging that process so you can be profitable with your expertise. You can be profitable with your passion. You be profitable, and we create a platform for you to do it. So this is done with you. And this revenue roadmap that you see, I write it for each and every client to make sure they have what they need to be able to deliver it to the world.
I love this. I love that. Okay. Yeah, I'm leaning in, looking at the notes. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. And so you say you have a beta offer, your benefit, my beta.
Yes. Thank you so much. Beautiful. So here's one of the things. Everybody needs to start somewhere. In sports, we call it preseason. In business, we call it our beta, or our minimum viable product. So right now, I'm about to start my third beta, and that's going to be started on May 6th. I'm going to get back from the University of Utah where my son graduates, and I'm going to be launching that next cohort. Normally, the pricing for the beta is $3,500. For anybody of your group, Kim, that reaches out to me and says, Kim Jacobs sent me, I'm going to give it half off, 50%. That means it's $1,750. That's just going to cover my time and helping me develop my team. And that's a 90-day program that's also going to include the 90 days of implementation coaching. You will not find that anywhere else, because my goal is that by beta 4, it's no longer in beta, and I'm now charging $5,500 for it. So essentially, from where it's going to be in July, August, it's $4,000 off. Right now, I'm making it half off for anybody in your audience. And that is working with me on Mondays, Tuesdays, and I have office hours on Thursdays. So you get me for 3.5 hours a week. I do not know any other coaching program that's going to bring you curriculum design, high performance, coach you on how to deliver it, gives you an outline for your workshop. Oh, yes. And this is the other part. You're going to be watching me demonstrate this year how to have a $100,000 book launch. Now, that is where the rubber meets the road, Kim. Talk about faith and talk about putting your best foot forward, because most authors think, I got to give my book out there and it's going to sell on Amazon, and that's what's going to make the difference. No, book sales are part of it. It is the knowledge of your expertise. It is speaking. It's creating consulting programs. It's creating courses. All of that is the productized knowledge that will get you to $100,000 or better. Don't just rely on book sales. We've outgrown that. AI is here. It's going to cut you off at the knees if you just think you're going to do it by book sales. Right. You got to get out there and, blow your horn. There's a favorite song by Cole Porter, which is, Cole Porter's way back there, but it's blow your horn, Gabriel, right? And we all see that. Blow your horn, Gabriel. get on top of that mountain, blow your horn, tell people the transformation you do, the solution that you provide, where they're at. You create the bridge to their opportunity. And yes, let me help you monetize your book. Don't wait for agents. If you have an agent, more power to you. But I say, take action. There are so many people who do extraordinarily well, millions of dollars without ever seeing an agent. Hey, look, Louise Hay, and we all know Hay House. She didn't have an agent. She had a passion. She started it on her own. She said, hey, Wayne, what do you think? I'll do it with you. Hey, rest of my colleagues, what do you think? Yeah, Louise, we'll do it. There was no agent. They built it out of a communal passion and a conviction to make a difference.
Wow. And I have a tickle in my throat, so pardon me if I'm being silent for a minute over here.
Okay.
There's a quote that you have. If you'd read that, I'd greatly appreciate it too.
I'd love to. I'd love to. Yeah, I believe this to be a 1,000% true. And the future for authors is to move beyond being solely a writer and into becoming difference makers. It is critical that authors actively participate in the marketing, delivery, and implementation of their expertise. The authors who do this will flourish. Those who don't will be lost to a landscape dominated by AI.
Wow. I think that sums it up in a nutshell. One thing that I noticed when I was reviewing your program is that you take only 15 authors. Why is that? Talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, very good. You know, the Smarts says you grow at a rate that you could serve best. So my first cohort was 7. So I'm going to double that to 15. And then I'm going to double that to 30 to 45. Because see, as a classroom teacher, I know I could teach 45 to 50 all day long. Right. And I want to be able to make sure no one falls through the cracks. Okay. If you're going to come in, and I know that you're coming here to deliver your passion and you're putting all your chips in on me to, Chris, get me out there. I want to be there with you. I got to be arm in arm with you. And I know that right now, the next step, the next smartest step for me is to say, okay, let's roll with 15 because I'm going to serve you and I'm going to get you there.
Excellent. Excellent. So you're not going to be just getting, it sounds like some helium, right?
There's no hot air. There's no helium. That's right.
So funny. Kim, you need to do this program for your books. Yes, thank you so much, Mackenzie. I appreciate your feedback and definitely love the opportunity to work with Chris. So yes. You may very well see me in some of the classes too.
I love it. I love it.
But I'm actually also launching a program on May 6th for people that are starting their own show from scratch. So
that's right.
And I'm taking 5 students. So right now I have 2 more seats left in that program as well.
That's fantastic.
People launch their shows and be able to start doing this, which is being able to go live once a month, once a week, daily, however they deem appropriate.
Great job, Kim.
Refer people to each other for sure.
We do, and actually, you know, as a track coach, there's also one of my favorite races was the relay, right? Especially the mile relay, end of the day. Right. But you can hand them off to me because here's the thing: if you're going to be having them deliver a great show, it's the virtual stage. Have something to sell from the stage. Now, I don't say sell like we're just out to sell something. Have something that's going to transform their lives that you invite them to participate in, that shows your knowledge and your expertise. So if they're in your programs and they are not clear on their message, their product, how they're actually going to have a process, please, let's work together so they have a great show and they also have success monetizing that expertise. Because if you're just a great megaphone, but you're not directing them somewhere or for some purpose, they're missing a big component.
That's correct. And most of the people that take the training on starting their own talk shows or podcasts or live streaming programs, they are authors or motivational speakers in the process of writing books as well. So
Yeah.
it'll be a great partnership. Listen, I want you all to make sure you stay connected with Chris Trammell, and you can do that at theauthorlaunchpad.com, theauthorlaunchpad.com. And he is going to be walking you step by step through this revenue generating process.
Yes.
He's not leaving you off
Absolutely.
the tip. So are there any other tips or anything you wanted to say that we didn't get a chance to cover? And plus, you can also come back and be one of our Freestyle Friday experts, which means you would be coming on some Fridays. And this will be a never-ending thing, trust me, because they can tell you. You'll be sharing tips.
I would love to come on wherever it allows you and I to shine our lights in the world. I'm also going to give them an email right there if you want to share that one. hello@christrammellcoaching.com. That will allow them to also send me a message. I'll be able to move with that faster right now as I'm looking to onboard and to start to meet people, because some people aren't best fits, right? Meaning they may not be where I need them to be. And I got to send them to my weight room. I got to send them to one of my other coaches to cultivate them and then bring them back to me for performance and competition. You see, I still talk like a coach.
That's a good thing. Let's see, we'll put that up here too.
It is. And that's where I would like to leave the final messages. I go back to where we started. I never forgot the message of the Jewish carpenter, even though I was in Catholic school, and I pushed back against a lot of the lessons there. Something about, I'm the truth, I'm the life, and I'm the way. I am the light. Do not hide your light under a bushel. Light, light, light. It always stuck out to me. The core of who I am, Kim, is that I have people shine their lights in this world. And it is a very Christ-conscious message. I don't share that often enough, but that's what's at my root, because I know that when someone else is shining their light in a place where there's not enough light, or there might be darkness, or they're bringing it to one life, one soul, they are doing their life work. If I could get them out there to do it confidently. So it's shine your light, develop your level of performance, and transform what you need to transform, so you stop being concerned about this and you're more concerned about the impact you're making.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, stop being so concerned about this and be concerned about the impact that we are making. I'm sure some of you are already emailing Chris, but you can go ahead and email him at hello@christrammellcoaching.com.
Yeah.
And make sure you do that today so that you can secure your seat as one of the 15 students that he'll take and help transform your book business, is what I would consider it. Transform your book business so that it is revenue generating for you and the people that you're serving, because you don't want to be operating in a vacuum where nobody can find you. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's tough to be a broke philanthropist. It's tough to be broke and make a difference in communities.
That's right.
You got to make some money and go out there and do some good with it.
And you're going to teach people how to do that. And according to statistics, and I was watching this, reading this at wordsrated.com, they said only between 1% to 2% actually ever get their work even published. And over 95% of manuscripts sent to publishers are below the standard required to publish. So a lot of times people are not successful in their endeavors to be able to be a reputable author. Yeah. So make sure you all connect with Chris Trammell. And before I close out, I'm on a mission to help my son, and it's my last thing that I'll do here. And then
beautiful son, let's do this. Yes,
we will close out. I have a son, everyone. I have 5 children, just so everybody knows, because I talk about different ones at different times. But right now, you often hear me talk about Gabriel. He's in heaven. But I'm going to talk about Ivan, my son, Ivan Jacobs. Ivan is actually, he's an author. Let me let you know that. He's an author in Healthopedia, the youngest author in the book of Healthopedia,
yes,
Jody Bear. And he also is a person that went on a personal weight loss journey and losing over 100 pounds. So this is him before.
Wow.
And this is him after. And he went on his own personal journey. And he fights cystic fibrosis, which is a lung disease that causes mucus to stick in the lining of your lungs, which ultimately a lot of people that have that have to get lung transplants in order to survive. And so he's not at that phase, and we claiming that he won't be dealing with nothing like that in his lifetime. But I want to just let you see a quick, like 50-second clip of him, and I'll tell you what he's striving to accomplish.
Hey, my name is Ivan, and I live with cystic fibrosis. I was diagnosed at 17 years old, and I had a hard time accepting the fact that this was my new normal. In a split second, I had pills I needed to take, treatments I had to do, and statistics that weren't favorable. So I decided to take CF head on. I became an ambassador and advocated for the disease. I took my treatments regularly, and I try to be an inspiration for my siblings. If you also live with cystic fibrosis, I know it can be hard, but what you're doing is also inspiring other people. I'd love to hear about some of your personal victories. Please share them below this video.
Ivan is an ambassador for the Boomer Esiason Foundation, and I want everyone, if you would, to make sure that you, let me put this up here. It's a link where you can actually click on it. It's in the comment section for you to be able to donate to his cause of being able to raise funds for the Boomer Esiason Foundation. It goes directly to the organization, and he's been charged with being able to raise $4,000 to help find some type of cure for cystic fibrosis. So please make sure you all support the cause, and again, the funds go directly to the Boomer Esiason Foundation. All right. Oh,
There he is, inside the Healthopedia book. I got to meet your son in Boca Raton, Florida, where I was there to help all the authors start to think about cultivating how they're going to turn their work into a program. That's how I met Dr. Jody Bear. My job is to help all these authors monetize that expertise. Your son was extraordinary. He spoke on the stage in front of me, and he was so poised, so collected. I know Boomer Esiason, not personally. He was a long-time successful NFL quarterback, and the fact that he's an ambassador for an NFL brand, fantastic. And it was a pleasure to be able to meet him and to be able to support him. And so shout out to you. You've raised a beautiful son. And it goes back again, right? Like, have a purpose to do your work around, because you won't quit, because people are relying on you to make a difference. You are the tip of the arrow. Lean into it.
wow. Okay. I didn't even expect you to do that. I was just sharing with you all about my son. So I'm really grateful to know that you all did connect paths together in Boca Raton.
Sure did.
And I'm sure you all will connect some more. All right, everybody. So that's today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. You all have been a beautiful studio audience. We're so grateful that you tuned in and commented. So many comments came in. Thank you so much, Chris Trammell. You are a tremendous guest here on the show.
Thank you.
And your words of wisdom, I believe people will connect with you. Please keep me posted too. But I want to, guys, make sure you go to theauthorlaunchpad.com and connect with Chris Trammell and do it right away so that you can secure your seat. Email him at hello@christrammellcoaching.com.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you, Kim. Closing comment is this. You orchestrate a fantastic show. And if anybody is looking for how to create a fantastic virtual show, Kim is absolutely top 3. I was going to say 5. No, Kim, top 3 of how well and how smoothly you have ran this show. And I really acknowledge you for what you do and for training others to be able to do this, because it has other people be seen and heard and acknowledged for what they do. And I thank you for seeing me today and allowing me to make my difference through this container of the Kim Jacobs Show. You do it wonderfully, and I hope everybody is in your program.
Oh, thank you so much as well. I believe that people are going to become filthy rich by learning how to actually sell their books and become authors that are revenue generating authors by reaching out to hello@christrammellcoaching.com. You don't want to miss being one of those 15 authors. And you could become a millionaire just by being an author.
You can.
Chris Trammell's program.
Yes. You have everything you need. Heaven. When the Jewish carpenter said, hello, heaven is within you. That's it. That's the ticket. You don't need to keep looking out there. Just refine this, develop this, programs, process, and get out there and deliver it to the world.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mackenzie backstage. Thank you,
Thanks,
Cassandra
Mackenzie.
on my team. And thank you to all of the studio audience members. I love all of you all. See you again tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great day.
Bye, all.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to